how's it going? Caitlin here, and welcome to my kitchen for another week of meal prep. I hope that you're excited. This week's menu, we have chicken ramen soup, mango basil stir fry, and everything turkey club. So if that sounds good to you, let's go. If you don't have your prep list, your grocery list, any of those things, check the description in this video to find a link to get all of that, and then you can grab your food, grab your kitchen tools, and come right back here. There are 3 varying levels of prep depending on your level of motivation today. So if you want to get the time to table results you see in the meal plan, you're going to want to go all the way with me to level 3. Okay, but even if you just get level 1 done, like honestly, you're gonna feel really good. If you can only choose 2 levels, get level 1 and level 3 done, because you can kind of do them at the same time for the most part. Okay, so let's go and we'll start with something in level 3, shall we? Because level 3 is stuff that's gonna do itself while you're doing other things, and that's just how we gain our time back. Okay, so first we are going to cook some chicken. You can cook it in any way you want to. I'm going to do mine in the pressure cooker just because it is so easy, hands off. I love that kind of thing. So I'm going to cook 4 chicken breasts. Where am I going to put my other chicken? That is one thing. When you get all your stuff on the counter, it can be a little crowded, eh? What? So chicken's cooking. I'm gonna cook some bacon as well. You can save yourself some time and effort here if you want to do ready cooked bacon instead. Then you can certainly do that. Especially, I find the shortcuts are easier sometimes, or easier to take sometimes if you're cooking for 1 or 2 people, because otherwise it's a lot of bacon to cook for 1 person. However, what you can do is if you're opening up a pack of bacon, you can split it up into little baggies and you can put it in the fridge. So even if you want to take portion it out by 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces, whatever you feel like you would want to use at a time, and you just put it in tiny little baggies. You can store it in the freezer, and then you can just take out a couple strips, like whenever. Heck, I think you could probably do that. You could just cook a whole pack of bacon, and then you could put it in the freezer in a couple portions too if you wanted to. And then when you want bacon, it's ready. No different than doing ready cooked, really. So there's options out there. And you know what? It takes as long to cook like a whole pack of bacon as it does to cook a couple pieces. So hey, whatever. Figure this is efficiency at its finest. I would say leftover bacon in our house, but that would be absolutely laughable. There's never leftover bacon in our house. Between my husband and the kids, all the bacon is it's in danger from the second it is cooked. Like the kids at least are still little enough that they can, they don't really have much choice other than to stay out of it. I say that. The other day, we have this huge shelf that we have all these boxes of sorted kids' toys on, so if they want to play with something, it's like, oh, you want to play with puzzles? Let's grab out the puzzle box. You want to play musical instrument? We'll grab the musical instrument box. You want to pretend to be a doctor? Let's grab the make-believe box, have them all stacked up this way. Anyway, the other day, they decided that they just wanted to make a mess. So they decided they were gonna knock over all of the boxes. Thing is, this thing's really high. Like, it's like a floor to ceiling shelf. There's probably like 5 shelves on this thing. And my little guy climbed all the way to the top of it. Meanwhile, my oldest, who was perfect cheerleader through this whole thing, he and his cousin went on the shelf below where my youngest was. So my youngest climbed all the way to the top and just threw every box off and just dumped them all out. Just dumped them all. They hid in the shelf that was just below him so that they wouldn't get hit. So at least they had like the forethought to do that. I'm gonna wash my hands. But the shelving unit, it is not secured to the wall. It would have been like, I had a very serious discussion with them. I'm like, you guys got very lucky that nothing bad happened there, but something bad could have happened there, you know? Like, I was very calm when I said this because I do always want them to come to me with any of the insane things that they do. I want them to feel comfortable coming to me with the insane things. But internally I was like, freaking out. Oh, gonna make some rice. I don't know if I said that or if I just was, you know, freaking out about my kids climbing, doing death-defying stunts. Like their cousin, who's also 3, she's like, she doesn't really have another older sibling who's close enough in age to her to try doing ridiculous things like this. So, like, did she climb up there too? They're like, yeah, she climbed. Did you have to help her? Like, no, she climbed all by herself. She didn't even fall. Like, well, she fell from the lower ones, but she didn't even cry. Like, holy crap. Children are wild. Children, they said. It'll be fun, they said. I'm just kidding. Nobody actually said that, but it is truly fun. It's also terrifying. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of stuff that's on the go from level 3. So we're gonna, you know, swap her on back and go to level 1. If you're already on level 1, then you are probably like just working your way through this and doing a phenomenal job. Good job. So proud of you. You're doing awesome. Gonna peel up and slice 4 carrots. I am seriously excited for this chicken ramen soup. I love a good soup. And if you don't have or don't want to use gluten-free ramen noodles, because I consider gluten-free ramen noodles kind of like a treat. It's not something that I would have on the daily because they're not particularly cost-effective. However, every now and then, it's kind of a fun thing to be able to have. It's one of those things that just feels like normal. I don't know. So, if you want to go for the ramen, go for it. There are alternatives. If you wanted to, you could make yourself up like vegetable noodles, you know? Or you can use the vermicelli glass noodles. They're packs of noodles. You can find them in the international section. You can either get ones that are, there are a little rice vermicelli, or there's ones that are made with green beans, I think. So you can choose either one of those. Those are actually really affordable to find. I find them in the international section at our superstore. And they're usually around like $2 for a big old bag of them. They're not particularly expensive. It'll have a different feel than ramen, but it's like similar enough that it still has a good, it's still gonna have good like Asian vibe to go with the rest of the soup. And I do usually use broth powder to save myself the effort of making bone broth. Even though you can make bone broth super easy. Like I have a recipe on my site for it, a very simple recipe. But you can either use a slow cooker or I use a pressure cooker, because a slow cooker takes about 24 hours, a pressure cooker takes about 3. So, and a slow cooker, your entire house is going to smell like bone broth for like ever. Whereas if you use the pressure cooker, you can only smell it once you off-gas it. So I'll let you decide which is a good thing, which isn't a good thing. Pressure cooker is one of those things that I just find it saves so much time and effort. If you want to use a mandolin to slice these, you certainly could. You can use any techniques you want for any of this. You don't need to have all the things in the world. As long as you have a cutting board and a sharp knife, you are good. I will say, you're going to have one thing, never skimp yourself on having the sharp knife. Having a dull knife is just asking for injury. Because a sharp knife cuts true the first time, takes less effort to do so. If you have a crappy knife, then it is going, you're gonna kind of do more of a sawing motion. Stuff isn't going to be as steady. You're more likely to slip and cut yourself. If you cut yourself, I find if it's a crappy knife, if it's a good, like, sharp knife, even if I nick myself, I find it closes, like, pretty clean, pretty easy. Could just be my imagination. I am, however, really klutzy. Probably just easily distracted, not very careful. Definitely my own fault. Like, 95 times out of 100, it's definitely my own fault. And then I'm like, well, crap, that wasn't a good choice. We learn, right? What I've learned, sharp knives. Sharp knives are better, even if you're clumsy. Even if you're accident prone, even if your knives claim you all the time, you still want a sharp one, I promise. You do not want any other ones. Okay, so there's gonna be a whole crap ton of veggies in this soup. Just as an FYI. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So chopping up a whole bunch of green onion to go in this soup. If you want to do a little more, you certainly can, to go on your soup afterwards, because this is going to kind of, you know, cook in with it, lend its flavor. I don't know if you've ever looked at these meal plans and been like, it says a weekly meal plan, girl, and there's like 3 recipes in there. Yes, this is a true statement. But what I found is if you're prepping for 3 days at a time, you're kind of doing yourself a bit of a favor. You can prep more stuff ahead of time if you're doing 3 days, because you're not worried about your produce going bad or generally your meat going bad. You can even cook some meat in advance. It's still going to be fine even if you use it at the end of 3 days. So if you do 3 days, you can switch out whichever meals you want for the days, and everything's still going to be good for the most part. I mean, check your expiry dates and make smart choices, but generally it's going to be fine. I used to do more days at a time, and I found like I couldn't prep very much for my last days of the week because there would be fear that stuff would be going bad. So I'm like, well, do I prep it and then freeze it and then take it out that day? Like, there was just so many logistical things. Whereas if I just prep for 3 days, I can really prep a lot of stuff for those 3 days, and then it's just throwing it together. And weirdly enough, it takes as much time to prep 3 meals as it does if I'm just going to be prepping for 1 meal. It makes no sense. I realize the logic is not there, but there it is. And I think some of it is just you get in kind of a zone. So, green onions. So, shortcut here, I'm going to be grating some ginger. Maybe you have ginger that is already done in a little jar. In which case, fantastic. You can just take yourself out 2 tablespoons and it's already done for you. Could you use powdered ginger? You could, I wouldn't recommend it. You just get way better. You get way better everything if you're using fresh ginger. It's one of those things that's just way better fresh. And it's super good for you too. So, especially maybe it's cold and flu time of the year, maybe feeling a little under the weather, ginger warms you up. It's good for your immune system, it's good for your digestion. There's just so many things that ginger is good for that I really can't think of any reason why you shouldn't just use the fresh. I am using what is called a cup zester. I like it for ginger specifically because you can use it in any direction. So ginger tends to get very stringy. It doesn't get nearly as stringy when I'm using this, because just being able to move it around like this makes all the difference in the world. Tablespoons is a significant amount to be shredding. This is going to be a big soup. It's going to be a good soup. It's going to be a big soup. You're going to have leftovers. That's another thing about prepping for 3 days at a time, is that day 4 is often leftovers, which is good. That's a good thing. Maybe you want to make something that is leftover heavy towards the start of the week, like this soup, you know? Another thing I like about this is that it has my measurements just down below in here. Not quite 2 tablespoons yet. Getting there, not there. I also have no idea how you take like the biggest thing of ginger in the world. It looks like it should be like a half a friggin' cup once you grate it up, and then somehow it's like you grate it and it shrinks. It shrinks so much. Like ginger, it defies all logic for me when I'm just using it. It does not, it doesn't compute. It doesn't make sense in my world. Need more. So there may even be enough soup left over afterwards that you might be able to freeze some. I always think that's lovely too. I like having a bit of soup in my freezer for lunches. For lunches when I'm like, I don't want to actually make something. I don't want to put in that time, the energy or the effort. If I have soup in my freezer, then I can just take out a portioned container of soup. Thaw it out real quick, heat it up. Okay. How are we doing now? It's getting heavy. It's like 2 tablespoons and 500,000 pounds. Okay. Guys, I think we're good. I think I'm good. You good? I'm good. Okay. Okay, so maybe I ended up with a little more than 2 tablespoons, but whatever, it'll be fine. It's good. I'm happy. I gotta wipe my hands off, but I'm happy. Okay. Garlic. Once again, tons of garlic. Maybe you are somebody who has the set a 10-minute timer on that. Calls for 8 cloves of garlic. You can measure this with your heart a little bit, because a lot of it's going to depend on the size of your cloves and how much you personally like garlic. Like it's going, this soup, it does get the flavors generally from the fresh herbs that you're throwing in there, the fresh ginger, the fresh garlic. They're just all going to blend together to be completely deliciously awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. So I promise it's going to be very delicious. Yes, but if you have a jar of garlic instead of, just doing up all your own garlic, of course, that is a shortcut you could be taking right now too. You're like, whoa, I don't need to cut up 800,000 cloves of garlic. I already have it in a jar. Cool. You do that too. There's always shortcuts. And you know what? Never feel bad about taking shortcuts because everybody takes shortcuts. Don't care who you are. You could be the crunchiest, most granola mom in the whole world and you're still taking a shortcut. Because odds are you're not raising, like unless you're a farmer, you're not raising your cow, you're not raising your chickens, you're not butchering them. You're not doing, nobody's doing all of the things all of the time. So you can say you're doing everything from scratch, but where's the line? So really, everybody's just doing their best. There should be no shame for something that you did or didn't do. If you're buying pre-grated cheese or pre-diced garlic, I think everybody's gonna be okay. It'll be just fine. I feel like I didn't look at this, what it says for a time on the soup, and I am loosely basing it off of a recipe that I found, but I had to switch it to be gluten-free. And you know what? Ramen noodle size for gluten-free versus non-gluten-free, it's just about the only thing that's really different. But I feel like this would be one of those recipes where it says, takes 30 minutes or takes 40 minutes, you know? And really, like when you're prepping all of these veggies in advance to go in it, yes, you're getting a very, very, very nutritious thing. But do I feel like doing all of this at 5 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. or whenever my family is imploding because they're hungry, but they're so young they don't know how to process that they're imploding because they're hungry, so instead they just implode. Anybody else's kids do that? It's just like absolute complete madness, and then it's like you get supper in their bellies and all of a sudden you're like, oh no, I do like this person. I do enjoy their company. They are good people. I'm glad I produced them. I'm using it's a garlic prep tool, so it minces the garlic just by pressing down. You could use a food chopper, you could use anything you want to. Do what you do. This thing's fairly efficient. And if I'm doing 8 cloves, I'm looking for efficiency. Hey looking bacon. Giving it 4 more minutes. And I always cook my bacon in the oven. It doesn't spit at me. It's, once again, very hands-off. I like having hands-off so that I can have my hands on other things. Yep, I've got 3 kids. They often require time, energy, hands-on approach, patience. And it's funny, like I would never, I never even pretend to wish the time away with them. Like, it's never like, oh, this is gonna be so much easier when they're older. Because I mean, I don't know, because they're not older yet. But it's one of those things, like, you can kind of safely assume every age just has their heart. Every age has their beauty. And I don't want to miss out on any of it, right? Like, I want to be as present as I can through every stage and just soak in every last beautiful part of it. Like, motherhood is brilliant. I love it. And it's funny, like every once in a while I'll find myself being like, oh, someday I want to come back as a dad, you know, because so many things it feels like they just have it a little easier. Which I feel like every mom has been there at one point, just being like, okay, yeah, you know what? Dads have a few things easier. Being a mom can feel kind of thankless sometimes. It's like the weight of the world can be on your shoulders, and it's just expected that you can do all the things. It's like somehow you become a mom and you're superhuman, and that's it. So if you are doing your garlic in advance, you do want to cover it in oil. So I'm just gonna just smush it down as much as I can. And then just cover it in oil, because you don't want it to oxidize and go bad. That's what you don't want, okay? Doesn't need much, but you do want it to be covered in oil just to keep it good. Then it's like making your own jarred garlic, okay? Is it cheaper? No. Is it easier? No. But that's the garlic we grow from our garden. So I'm like, well, I guess that it's probably cheaper that way. Okay, so I'm gonna cut up some Napa cabbage to go in the soup. I'm gonna ish it. I'm just gonna fill this container is my big plan. I know, big exciting plans. So if you have your Napa cabbage, you can also use it for, salads and stuff this week if you want to. If you wanted to take a few of the bigger leaves off and do yourself kind of like lettuce wrap type of deal, you could do that. All right, some parts in there are looking funky. Oh, this is gonna be special. Not throwing out the whole thing. Way too stuffy for that. I wonder if it looks less crappier at the bottom, or if there's just like this ring going around the whole thing. All right, whatever. So I am just gonna use Napa cabbage instead of lettuce for the everything turkey clubs as well. Because you know what? It's essentially lettuce. It's fine. It'll work as lettuce. Treat it like it. Just treat it like it's lettuce. Wow, this is a special head of cabbage. It's like it was all hidden on the inside too. It's like looks fine from the outside, and then you get into there and you're like, well, crap. I think I did pretty good. I'm gonna call it good enough. So this is like, aside from what's going into my sandwich, or if you want to do some for a side dish or something, this is all just going in the soup anyway. Adding some, you know, greenery and goodness to your life, or weird little brown pieces. Either one. Either one. Okay, I feel like that was kind of the perfect amount. Sweet. Bacon is ready. Okay. Holy crap, there's a lot of veggie prep this week. kind of insane how many veggies. That's a good thing. It's definitely a good problem to have when you have this many veggies that you're processing. So that means a very delicious and nutritious week. And that is the goal. Keep ourselves healthy. So slicing a red onion and then slicing a bell pepper, and then that will pretty much do it for our veggies this week. Unless of course you have anything else to process. Like now is honestly a fantastic time, if you've got your mojo going, to look in your fridge and see, is there anything else that, is there anything that you gotta use up this week, you know? Do you got any veggies that are going to go bad? How can you use them? Could you use it in a side dish? Could you use it in a main dish? I think there's some great ones that you'd be able to pack extra veggies in this week, and that would be your already super veggie laden soup, or your stir fry is a great one to incorporate it, or into your side dish for the everything turkey clubs. Okay, so all of these are actually great for using. But if you don't make a plan for your food, sometimes it just goes bad. And it's like, oh crap, I meant to use that. But you didn't. And why didn't you use it? Because it wasn't on your mind. And now this is a time where you can have it on your mind and make the things happen, okay? This is your moment, this is your time. Now, if you're looking in the fridge and you're like, I am not able to use any of this in any of these plans, A, send me a message, because I bet you can, and I could probably help with that. But B, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so even if you can't use it this week, you can make a conscious effort right now, if you'd like to process those veggies, clean them, cut them, prepare them in a way that they could be used, whether it's dicing up some peppers, whatever the case may be. And then you can put it in the freezer. Put it in a freezer bag, mark on it what it is, what the date is, so that you will actually use it. And yeah, then you'll actually save yourself money the next time, because maybe the next time you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy this. You're like, oh, wait, I have that in my freezer and it's already ready to go. And you know what? It becomes the easier option then, and you will do the easier option, generally, hopefully. Not with all things. Hopefully for food you will. If that is all the gas you have in the tank, then you did awesome. You completed level 1, most of level 3. Amazing job. Grab me a plate for the chicken. If you're still with me, we're gonna go on to level 2. I'm just taking this out to cool off. That way I can shred it up. That's all going in our soup. Okay, let's go. Let's go level 2, shall we? So, going to mix some stuff up together here. Let's see. So, soy sauce or coconut aminos. Coconut aminos are basically like soy sauce, but for people who cannot handle soy. Also, they're free of MSG. So if MSG is a thing for you, there is MSG in a lot of different soy sauces. Which is kind of annoying. There's almost nothing in it. So if you're looking for stuff that is low ingredients, then you might really vibe well with it as well. Sesame oil. And sugar. If you want to use something else instead of sugar, if you want to use natural sugar, you could use maple syrup, or you can use coconut sugar. You can do any of the things. There we go. One sauce, all made, ready to go. Level 2 is really these things that are just going to make everything so much more manageable. I'm gonna juice up some limes to a 1/4 cup of lime juice. If you want to use just, a bottle of lime juice, then you can skip this step too. There are definitely shortcuts you can take. Fresh lime is one of the things that I love. I notice the difference in a recipe if I'm using, if I'm, slumming it. If I'm slumming it with the other, I notice. I notice in the flavor. And it's kind of like a little treat to myself, not even just for the flavor, but even just the smell of fresh lime juice. I love. So when I'm juicing it, I'm just like, oh, that's nice. Like as a whole nice treat myself to the whole atmosphere while I'm prepping. Not quite to the 1/4 cup. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut my lime. I'm gonna cut it from like stem to tail, I'm gonna say. I'm gonna cut it stem to tail, if that makes sense as a description. The reason I'm doing that is because if I just happen to need half of this lime, I'm gonna save the other half of that lime. I just needed that. So I'm gonna save the other half of this lime, and then I'm gonna be able to cut it into lime slices so I can serve it on the side with my soup, and it's gonna look really cute. And I like it when my food looks good. I like it when it looks good. Can't help it. Everybody does, actually. Like, as it turns out, you start the process of digestion before you ever put any food into your mouth. And that's because when food looks good, when you're hungry, any of these things, you gotta chop up some cashews. You can use a rolling pin for this. You can put them in like a little bag, use a rolling pin, or even if you have them covered with a cloth or a bag, and then you even if you use like a cup, you can crush them. You can do lots of different things. I'm just using a food chopper. So lots of different options there. Just chop up some cashews. Okay, what else? Gonna make ourselves up another little sauce here. This is one of the nice things about prepping as well, is I'm gonna make some broth here with this. One of the nice things about prepping it in advance is sometimes you're using the same ingredients a few times, so it might not seem like much, but it is just taking things out once instead of taking it out and putting it away twice. These little things that don't seem like much, they really do add up, okay? So, using the soy sauce, coconut aminos, whichever you're going for. Because I already have it. I have it out. Good to go. Sugar and optional chili flakes. I'm gonna put chili flakes on mine after because my kids are not huge on spice, which I don't think is unusual. So I throw my chili flakes on my own afterwards. I do use a powdered broth. This one is by Organica. It is a powdered bone broth. I do usually add salt to it, just because I find it's one thing is that it feels like it's missing. It feels like it's missing salt. But it's a single ingredient. The only ingredient in it is bone broth. So I don't have to worry about spending a lot of time. Of course I would put it in the wrong thing. Why wouldn't I? I meant to put that into the warm water. But you know what? It's gonna be fine. Looks a little clumpy right now, but it'll be fine. Oops. Here, we'll just try mixing that in. Totally fine. Yeah, but if you follow the directions instead of just throwing it randomly into your soy sauce instead, it's pretty easy to mix up and throw together. But you end up getting a lot more nutrients in it. There's a lot of potassium in there. A lot of potassium. There's also a lot of protein. So if you're trying to get extra protein in, consider throwing bone broth in because it does not have to be hard if you're doing it that way. Now, throwing together sauce for everything turkey clubs. I'm gonna have a couple tablespoons, and you can ish this, a couple tablespoons of basil. I'm throwing mine into an herb mill. You can just chop it up per however you want to chop it up. Love myself a good herb mill. This basil has seen happier days, but I don't usually buy the plant anyway. And I don't know why. I think it's because I'm just horrible at keeping plants alive. Much better at keeping children alive. Although you did listen to the story about them climbing downstairs. So maybe you don't believe me much on that. But I really am much better at keeping children alive than I am at keeping plants alive. It's like there's the limit that I've met for living things that I can take care of, and it does not go well with plants. However, sometimes I will find at the grocery store that there is no little packets of basil left, and then I gotta buy myself a plant so I can stare at it and accidentally kill it. When really, it's like, well, you should just water it, girl. Should. So, super simple sauce, but it is going to be delicious, okay? So, easy to make, just some mayo, everything bagel seasoning. If you don't have everything bagel seasoning, you can check online and you can find very easy mixes that you can do. It does require you, but then you can ish it, right? Because it's pretty much like garlic, some salt, sesame seeds. But it's kind of fun when they have the mix of like the black and the regular sesame seeds and all that, but if you do not have your own, you can make it. It's not many ingredients. Go. Does this say what's on it? Sesame seed, salt, roasted garlic, toasted onion, poppy seed. So there's nothing to say that you could not make that all on your own if you so choose. So you can choose your own adventure. What adventure are you choosing? So my herb mill has a little ball in it, so it brings all the herbs down to the bottom, and you can kind of give it the herby shuffle. Using this thing, like, it feels therapeutic to me. I don't know why. Once again, fresh herbs. Could you use dried? You could. I think you could use dry with this. I don't think you're gonna get as much flavor, but you could. There's always modifications, right? Always modifications. I don't want to say like this meal plan is a starting point, because I like to think it's way more than just a starting point. There's a lot in here. However, you do get to build on it. It's meant that there's the freedom in there that you can do the things. Okay, so there's our everything sauce. Guys, that is it for level 2. Fantastic. Okay, so let's see. Make sure I fluff up my rice. Rice adequately fluffed. I do want to cut up my chicken too. I want to cut up this chicken and have it ready to go, because that's just going to make it easy. It's going to make it easy for the soup, because then I can just dump in all the things, you know? And just being able to dump things in is kind of where it's at. And since this went in the pressure cooker, it's kind of ridiculously easy to cut up or pull or whatever. If you didn't want to cook the chicken, you could also consider doing like rotisserie chicken. Could be a great recipe to use if you just had turkey dinner or something like that, and you're looking for a way to use up extra turkey or meat. Because who says it has to be chicken? You could use whatever you wanted to in that, really. Kind of a nice way, I think, actually, to use up turkey if you were going to do that for just so you're not like, there's only so many days that you can actually like taste the turkey dinner taste in a row before you're just craving a little more variety. So I think something like this could actually really help with that. I wonder if I can remind myself to do this next time, to use turkey next time I do a turkey dinner, because we always get like this massive turkey because we host, because you know I'm allergic to life, so we generally host because it just takes the pressure off of everybody, but then we get a lot of leftovers as well. You would think like, well, why don't you just get a smaller turkey? And to that I have no answer. I haven't. Okay. So, chicken, ready to go. Very last thing that we have to do is slicing up some raw chicken. Yay! So this is going to be for the mango basil stir fry. And it's funny, just like, it's just these little things where if I don't have to cut up my chicken that day, if I can just dump all of the things, it's going to appeal to me so much more. If you are using fresh mango instead of frozen, then that's something that you could prep as well. Okay guys, I know it has been a lot of prep today, especially if you didn't take any shortcuts. If you didn't take any shortcuts, crazy. However, I do think it's going to be an easy week. It's going to be a delicious week. All these meals are going to come together. All this hard work is going to be worth it. Never doubt for a second, this is self-care. You're taking care of yourself when you're doing this, as you're taking care of your family and everything else. I hope you can really lean into that feeling of having all of the stuff done throughout the weekend. I hope to see you next week as well. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll chat soon.